Well, it's episode 4 of Go-Kart Sport TV's Writer's Block. Once again, I'm Sean Goosen, and this week we'll be discussing the Rugby Championship, upcoming fixtures, as well as what happened in the past week. Again, we have Stephen Kisby-Green and Leonard Solms with us, as well as a new face in Daniel Goldberg. Gents, once again, thank you so much for coming down and listening to the questions and airing your thoughts. Leon, we'll start with you. Many were expecting a book backlash last week after the Albany disaster of 3 weeks ago. Alistair Coetzee said that he was pleased with the effort that his Springbok side showed in that encounter. As a book side at home, drawing to Australia at home, should we be pleased with that, or should we lament the fact that no, Alistair, we're still not winning games here?
I don't think that the Springboks should ever be content with not winning, even if it's against the All Blacks, let alone Australia. But that being said, I don't think that it was an absolute disaster. Perhaps if we were playing like this in a World Cup year, it would have been. Yeah, I think he's just trying to encourage a bit of positivity there, because definitely the press and the supporters have been lambasting the side, and yeah, it must make it quite tough for the mood in the camp.
Well, the Boks opted for a ball-in-hand approach, a very attacking, fast-paced game plan. Alistair Coetzee said in the media this week that he would not be shying away from that tactic. While the Boks played well in patches with that game plan, there were certainly opportunities that they let go astray. Leon, don't you think it's dangerous to play the All Blacks at their own game?
Yeah, I think it is, and in fact, yeah, I'm worried about what could come of that. Yeah, against Australia, we made the same silly mistakes that we made in that 57-0 game, but they didn't. Yeah, they weren't quite good enough to capitalize on them all the time. And I'm remembering that second try in particular that the All Blacks scored from that intercept. We don't want to see that happening again. On the other hand, it's not as if there are many weaknesses in this New Zealand side, so I can understand why he would want to play to what he feels are the Springbok strengths as opposed to New Zealand's weaknesses. We just have to be very, very disciplined if we're going to do that.
It'll be interesting. I mean, I think it's a little bit naive, maybe tactically, with Alistair Coetzee. Another one of his mentally, we're not really sure where he's at, is the whole debacle involving Raymond Rule. After that 57-0 thrashing at the hands of New Zealand, Alistair Coetzee claimed that he wouldn't be dropping players or throwing them away after one bad performance. Rule missed 9 tackles in that All Black encounter, and was 24 hours later sent back to the Cheetahs after Coetzee had made these comments. He played for them in the game against the Ospreys last weekend, and then rejoined the Springbok camp, only to leave 3 days later this week. Steve, what is the thought process there from Alistair Coetzee?
I honestly have no idea what Coetzee is thinking with bringing players into the squad, then dropping them, then back into the squad. I do agree with the dropping of Rule, maybe not from the squad entirely, but maybe give him a couple of games on the bench, sort of see how Dylan Lace plays. Dylan Lace played pretty well, hair pulling incident aside, against the Australians. One of the minor highlights I would say from the side. He was definitely stronger on defence than Rule. Rule, yeah, if you ask me, Rule's in a similar situation as in Nkosi. He gets brought into the side,
and Thomas du Toit,
and even Thomas du Toit. They're brought into the side and has three days, maybe 4 days with the squad, only probably training for 2, and then gets put back down to their Currie Cup side. I don't understand the logic there. If you're going to bring them in the team culture at the beginning, let them train with the side. Obviously, give them game time if they warrant game time. If they still need more game time before they get the box squad, then you drop them down to the Currie Cup. And of course, he wasn't in the squad long enough to say, oh, he's being brought into the team culture. If you were going to bring him in from the beginning, or wait until the end of your tour, because right now they've basically wasted those 3 days of his training for the Sharks. Rule, it's interesting why they would even bring him back into the second time. He didn't have a fantastic showing against the Ospreys, but he wasn't as bad as he was against the All Blacks. I mean, you can't get much worse than any of the players against the All Blacks. So it's not just Rule. It just seems that Rule was the target of most of the criticism. I just think Coetzee needs to decide now who's actually in his squad, who he wants to build his squad around, and then continue with those players and reward form. If they're not showing form, if their form is off, then put them on the bench and reward the players that are performing. Rule getting dropped straight out of the squad, especially after being said that he wouldn't, just shows that Alex Coetzee hasn't actually got a plan, in my opinion.
Yeah. Obviously, you touched on Dylan Lates. He was involved in a collar-pulling incident with Israel Folau on the weekend.
If you want to call it that.
In Michael Checker's words. Ibn Etzebeth was sort of the cause of a scuffle that broke out soon after that. He came rushing in on Folau and started harassing him. Stephen, I know you wanted to touch on Etzebeth's captaincy. Should the skipper be doing that?
The skipper shouldn't, but Ibn should.
He's the enforcer.
Yeah, he's the enforcer. That's what he's there for. The thing is, I personally don't. I've said it a while back. He's not the Storm. He's not the captain of the Stormers. He's the vice captain, if that, under Sia Khaleesi. I personally think Khaleesi has warranted it. I think he would, as you could see, he didn't go rushing in hot-headed into that incident. Etzebeth, as great a player as he is and as great an enforcer as he is, I don't think he, based on that incident as evidence as well, he's too hot-headed for.
But he has been good up until now, though. This is the first incident, I think, in a few tests that we've seen since he took over the captaincy.
I wouldn't say he's been good in terms of the captain, but on his discipline level, he's definitely similar to Dylan Hartley. When put as captain, his discipline has been good. This incident is isolated, fair enough, but as I think it was pointed out earlier in the week by one of, I can't remember which writer, but I read an article earlier in the week where it pointed out that after each try, it was silence. You can't have, as a captain, you need to pick your team up after conceding points. And against Australia, and especially against the All Blacks, Etzebeth was quiet. The team, their heads were down. There was no leadership. There was no, come on guys, let's get up there. Let's fight back. It was sort of, okay, we've conceded another try. Okay, cool. Okay, another one. Your captain, what Warren Whiteley had done for the Lions and what he did for the South Africans against the French is, when there was points conceded, no matter how far ahead the team was on the scoreboard, when there were points conceded, he was clapping, "Come guys, heads up, heads up. We're going to turn this around, and let's do it again." Khaleesi tries to do that, but when he's not being put in that leadership role, the team will not necessarily listen to him as much as they will listen to the official captain. And if Etzebeth wants to take on the responsibility as he should want to, and as he's been given, he needs to actually take it on and encourages his team to do better. And running in to help Dylan Lates, as admirable as it was, I also think that was one of the reasons why a yellow card was not given to Folau for that incident.
I mean, his collar was really being quite hectically there.
Even if it was just a collar incident, that high tackle alone warrants a yellow card.
We'll touch on the front row, Steve. Obviously, Beeson Taurier has been arrested. He's got personal issues. I think Stephen Kitshoff gets his first start. He's played 17 tests off the bench. I think that's a book record. He finally gets his start. Along with Ruan Drab, he battled slightly last week against the Aussies. Trevor Nyakani will again provide impact off the bench, with Wilco Lowe set to make his debut amongst the subs. Steve?
As I said last time I was on the show, I feel sorry for Nyakani. He doesn't really get.
Once again.
Yeah, he doesn't get much game time, and when he does, it's like 2 minutes of game, and then he does what he can in 2 minutes. Dreyer, I've always been a supporter of up until his Bok debut. He hasn't. I don't know how to say that. He's been pinged quite a lot for penalty-wise since coming into the box squad. And I don't think it's necessarily the front row that he's scrumming in or against. I think it's his technique. His technique was good in the Lions, but I don't know what's gone on in his head to change his technique slightly that he gives those penalties. I did say that at the beginning that I wanted to see a Dreyer, Marks, Kitsoff front row, so it will be interesting to see how that plays out tomorrow. Hopefully, with the lower scrummaging of Kitsoff at his side, Dreyer will be able to scrum like he does with his Lions partners. I'm worried about the scrums though, because Kane Hames has been fantastic, silencing his critics.
Really has, yeah.
And I'm looking forward to the scrum battle. Volkolo, I think, has been unlucky not to have been called up earlier. Especially, I think he's unlucky that it wasn't called up ahead of Dreyer in the first place. As good as the Lions scrum has been this year, Volkolo has been particularly good, especially with his technique, and I think he probably should have gotten the start ahead of Dreyer. In hindsight, I was using my heart more than my head last time I was on, calling Dreyer first, but
typical Lion.
Going to be good to see Volkolo run on for his debut.
Or moving on to the second row, I could see has opted to drop lock Franco Mostert in favour of Lood de Jager, who's sort of come out of the abyss to start this test match, with his heel partner Evan Etzebeth, as always, starting. Dan, Kutsia says this is due to experience. He wants more line-out forwards in that forward pack after what happened in Albany.
Well, if you look at the forwards in general, you can see Peter Steff out there on the flank as well. He wants a very strong line-out. That's why he's picked Evan Etzebeth, Lood de Jager and Peter Steff. Even though I feel Franco Mostert's had an amazing year, he's been on very good form for the Boks. But you're looking at the South African Player of the Year of 2015 in Lood de Jager. He's always delivered for the Boks when he's played. So I feel he has actually made the right call.
Can I just add to that? To me, the decision's a bit strange, considering they said that he wants more line-out stability when you have just dropped statistically the best line-out lock in the Super Rugby competition this year. He made the most steals. He made the most receiving on his own ball. He outperformed all of the All Blacks and all of the other South Africans. I'm not even counting the Australians because they were nowhere this year. So to me, the only thing I can think of as to why you would rest Mostert is in fact an actual rest, because as we pointed out, Mostert has been playing rugby almost non-stop for a year and a half, 2 years almost. So that to me is the only real reason that I would think he would go dropped.
Yeah. In rebuttal, at the same time as Mostert has an amazing year playing, you can't deny that Lood de Jager has performed every single time he's played. Obviously, there's a couple of performances you can say, no, not really. But in general, he's been a very good player.
I'm not taking anything away from de Jager. I was just thinking, if that is the reason that Kutsia dropped Mostert, it doesn't really hold water.
Leon, let's talk All Blacks. Steve Hansen and his coaching staff opted for a different sort of selection policy with their squad. They flew 5 key players of theirs straight to South Africa, as opposed to them travelling to Argentina with the rest of the squad. Those 5 players obviously well rested now. They're up for the challenge. They're looking to obviously combat player burnout. They've still got the Bederslow test against the Wallabies, as well as their year-end tour to negotiate. Leon, do you think that these players will lift the All Blacks in the final quarter?
I think you're absolutely right. It is key players that they've left behind. I think Steve Hansen was very smart there. Certainly, you look at Sam Whitelock, yeah, Liam Squire and Ryan Crotty. Those two especially, they've been very big.
Excellent this year.
Yeah, they've been big this year. Yeah, I think Sam Whitelock he's looking at someone who can specifically hurt the Springboks. So yeah, he's managed that very well. Yeah, for me, it's not about hurting us in the last few minutes. I think he's got a team that's, yeah, it's
80-minute performance.
Yeah, that's what they've been missing for a lot of the time, but not against us. And
no,
yeah,
they chose their best game for us.
and I think they're looking to do that again.
And just speaking on Ryan Crotty, how important do you think he is to this All Black side? For me this year he's been absolutely outstanding, finally getting the recognition that he deserves, starting in that number 12 or 13 berth.
Yeah, I think that you saw against Australia when he was taken off, all of a sudden they fell apart.
He's the glue in that back line.
Yeah, and I think that he's more valuable to them even than Sonny Bill.
I agree with you there. Dano, the other rugby championship clash involves the Aussies going up against Argentina and Mendoza. The RGs have lost, it's 10 of their last 11 tests. They're one win coming against Georgia in June. Dan, do they have any chance against the Aussies?
Well, if you look at the Australians, last week they actually did play a good game, regardless of how some people might see it. They counter-attacked very well, they lived for gaps very well, they were very good at line breaks. But at the same time, this Argentinian side is known for their passion, they're known for how much they like to run with the ball. So it's going to be a very interesting clash, but I feel the Australians are going to take it.
And just quickly, just to touch on the Currie Cup, only 4 points separates 7th from 4th. Obviously, playoffs are wide open. Sharks have consolidated top spot. They will host at semi-final. 2 rounds to play. Hasn't the competitiveness of this season really been interesting to watch, Dan?
Well, in the past couple of seasons, the Currie Cup's been a similar landscape in which it's a proving ground for youngsters. It's sort of introducing young players to what Super Rugby will eventually be like. And so it's very interesting to watch how a lot of these teams who are separated by miles and miles doing Super Rugby are suddenly so closely matched. So if you look right now, I can't remember who's below, but Province and Chiefs are sitting on 2nd and 3rd with 6 wins each, and then it's 4 wins each for the next 2 spots and 3 wins for the last one.
Lions and Bulls?
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting, but as a lot of my coaches have said in the past, it's all about who wants it the most from here on.
Absolutely. And just speaking around the Cheetahs, obviously the defending Currie Cup champs, they may not be tearing up the domestic scene, but certainly, Steve, having it in the Pro 14, 3 wins on the trot now. They play Glasgow this weekend. They make it 4.
It's going to be difficult for them to, I think, to make it 4, considering they're playing away. They've got 3 wins at home so far, and that's what they said at the beginning of the year. They want to target their home games. Same with the Kings. They've also said we want to target our home games. We want to make it a challenge for the Pro 14 teams to come to South Africa. Kings hasn't worked out for them so far, but the Cheetahs have done well, especially last week. I thought against a fairly strong Leinster side. I think they're definitely going to challenge the Glasgow in Glasgow this weekend, but I don't know how they'll play in those cold conditions.
Warriors haven't played very well recently.
Yeah, so it's going to be a good game regardless. But I do think the Cheetahs are going to be strongest when they're at home, and most likely will get the only teams I think they'll beat away are the Italian teams.
Yeah,
I think.
Obviously, Leinster also hosting Munster, so other big Pro 14 games coming up this weekend.
Looking forward to that.
Guys, 100%. Guys, before we wrap up, let's get some predictions for the Rugby Championship. We'll start with the test in Mendoza. Dan?
I think Australia will take it by about 10 points.
10 points. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll also go Australia by 10.
I'll be a bit more bold and say Australia by about 15, 16.
I was also going to say 10 actually before this, so I'll go with you guys. And then the big one at Newlands. Dan?
As much as I want to say Springboks, I'm going to say All Blacks by about 7-ish. It's going to be close, I think.
All Blacks by 15.
Based solely on the drubbing of in Albany and the fact that Newlands is effectively a home away from home for the All Blacks, I would say All Blacks by about 20.
I'll say about 25 and we'll do this. It's going to be interesting.
Quite big for the Springboks.
Gents, once again, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for answering questions. Thanks for coming here, sharing your views. That's all we have time for this week on Go Kart Sport TV. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next week. Cheers.